I've been walking these roads under stars and the rain, asking questions that circle.
Welcome back to Vibe
yet come
Podcast's
back
Conspiracy
the
Club.
same.
Today we're discussing
Every
the strangeness
story
of the
I
Charlie Kirk
hear
killing,
holds
a
flicker
topic
of
researched
you,
for us by
but
David
it
Morgan.
falters
I'm joined by Charles and Angela.
Greetings, Alice, Angela. Charles here, ready to delve into whatever curious coincidences and peculiar puzzles David has unearthed for us today. I do love a good unraveling of the strange.
Hello everyone, Angela here, and I'm prepared to cut through any strange narratives to get to the core facts of this shooting, from a law enforcement and crime perspective.
Superb. And we certainly have some peculiar details to unravel with this case, don't we? David's research highlights several points that seem to add layers of oddity to the tragic shooting of Charlie Kirk. Let's start with the last person to ask him a question. A mathematics major named Hunter Kozak, whose father works with Jimmy Kimmel, whose dispute with President Donald Trump has been highly publicized.
Good heavens, a mathematics major whose father works with Jimmy Kimmel. One hardly expects such a delightful, if rather tangential, connection in such a grim affair. It immediately sets a tone, doesn't it? Like the universe is just winking at us with these little curiosities. And then, there's this unnamed individual shouting USA, USA, whose supposed Twitter account, R to the power of X, is apparently steeped in mathematics and probabilistic frameworks. Sounds like something out of a rather avant-garde thriller, wouldn't you say?
From a crime standpoint, the USA, USA shouting is often a distraction, or an attempt to blend into the chaos, or perhaps even a political statement. It doesn't necessarily aid in identification, but it certainly adds to the confusion investigators face on scene. And while the R to the power of X account might seem intriguing for its mathematical leanings, unless it directly links to the crime or the perpetrator, it's often just noise in the early stages of an investigation.
And speaking of on-scene confusion, George Zinn immediately stood up after the shooting, declaring he was the perpetrator. Angela, this is a significant detail in a crime, isn't it? Especially considering his background.
Absolutely, Alice. A false confession, or an attention-seeking confession, is something law enforcement deals with regularly in high-profile cases. George Zinn's claim, combined with his background of attending both Republican and Democrat rallies and boasting about infiltrating security, suggests a clear motive for wanting to be central to the event, even if he wasn't the actual shooter. His arrest would be standard procedure to verify his claims and rule him out. It pulls resources, but it's a necessary step.
Infiltrating security at events. Goodness gracious, what a rather boastful fellow. One might almost imagine him crafting an entire narrative around such an incident, regardless of his actual involvement. It rather reminds one of those characters who simply cannot resist being at the very center of any unfolding drama, no matter how dire. A true showman, it seems.
Indeed, but the actual shooter was eventually identified. Police named Tyler Robinson, 22, as the alleged assassin who fatally shot Charlie Kirk at Utah Valley University on September 10. He was charged with aggravated murder, felony discharge of a firearm causing serious bodily injury, and obstruction of justice. Angela, these are serious charges.
Those are indeed very severe charges, indicating a premeditated act and a clear intent to cause harm, resulting in death. The details about Robinson, his age, and the specifics of the charges give us a much clearer picture of the actual crime. What's also notable is that law enforcement confirmed he was living with a transgender roommate, and communications between them were crucial in helping the feds apprehend him. This highlights how modern investigations often rely on digital forensics and social connections to piece together the full story.
A transgender roommate, and their communications proving instrumental in the apprehension. That's another thread in this rather intricate tapestry, isn't it? One can almost hear the gears of serendipity grinding. It's not merely the crime itself, but the almost novelistic unfolding of the interconnected lives around it that truly captures the imagination.
And adding another layer of visual detail, video evidence of the shooter walking was provided by Phil Lyman's cousin. Phil Lyman, for context, seems to own many houses on that street and hopes to be the governor of Utah. Charles, the research points out the long and arduous path from the Lyman house, with the shooter apparently walking with a rifle down his trouser leg, when he could have simply driven to the car park. What do you make of that?
A rifle down one's trouser leg. Good heavens, what an utterly impractical and rather comical way to transport a weapon, given the grave intent. One might have thought a more discreet or efficient method would have been employed. And the connection to Phil Lyman, a potential governor, and his cousin providing the crucial video. It's all so delightfully, or perhaps disturbingly, intertwined. It simply screams of small-town connections and the unexpected ways they manifest in larger events.
From a tactical perspective, walking with a rifle down your trouser leg is incredibly risky and impractical. It risks accidental discharge, drawing attention, and would severely impede movement and the ability to quickly deploy the weapon. It suggests either a desperate attempt at concealment without proper planning, or a strange bravado. The video evidence, regardless of how it was obtained or by whom, is incredibly valuable in establishing the shooter's movements and timeline.
It seems every direction David's research took us created a truly wild story, filled with unexpected connections and bizarre details. That's all for today. A big thank you to our guest researcher, David Morgan, for providing our topic.
And the rain, asking questions that circle, yet come back the same. Every story I hear holds a flicker of you, but it falters and fades when it's missing the truth. For the truth you need proof, for the proof you need truth. Like the river needs stone, like the sky needs the moon. For the truth you need proof,